So let's get started. So first of all, in our text generation API, so as we have to make one API, so for that it is sure that we are going to have one server, right? So I'll start with the diagram first so that it is easier for us to like visualize what system we are building here, right? So first of all, I need a server. So that server we can build in any programming language. It can be Node.js, Express.js, Spring Boot, Ruby, or it can be it can be like Python, Flask, Django, Fast API. So for this project we are going to use Fast API because we are seeing that most of the companies which are using these generative AI APIs or tools and they're working with machine learning AI models, their server are also getting built in Python itself because they don't have to hire for multiple developers. They can just hire one Python developer and that same developer can work in AI modeling and AI engineering part, AI development part, plus he or she can also work in the backend part also, right? So that's why this server language that we're going to choose today is going to be Fast API and it uses Python as the programming language. So this will be our tech stack for the backend or for the server framework, right? Then we will definitely have one client which we are not going to focus today. This client can be a mobile app, this client can be a tablet, this client can be a desktop app, right? Anything. Plus it can be a smartwatch also, like anything, right? So this is my client devices. So I'll just say that, hey, these are my clients. Okay. And this is my server. This server we are going to build today, plus the model, right? We don't have any LLM model in hand, right? So we also need one LLM model, that is my large language model, right? So I have one LLM. So we are going to use one open source LLM so that we don't have to purchase OpenAI APIs or Gemini APIs, and because they, like many tutorials are already there on those APIs. So today we are going to learn one open source API so that your server, the API that you have built here, is free of cost and you don't have to pay anything to get the text generated from your own server, right? Plus you can also host this server on a Rapid API, or you can just publish this server out and you can even charge so that other people have to pay to you to use your own API, right? This is just an idea. If you want, you can do that, right? So this is my LLM model. Why do we actually do this? Why don't we actually go and head and just use OpenAI and Gemini? Because sometimes we have to fine tune these LLM model also, right? So there are a lot of open source LLMs, and what you can do is you can fine tune them on particular data set. Let's say you are building one machine learning model for your own college that is totally trained on your own college data, right? So for that you have to pick one open source LLM, you have to pick one open source LLM, you have to train that LLM on your college data, and then you can utilize this LLM through a server, and that LLM will be able to answer your queries related to your own college, right? So that's what we have to do, and that's why this architecture is important to understand. And the same project we are going to make today, right? For this video we won't be fine tuning the model, we are just going to use one open source model and just we are going to make this server, right? So this whole thing is going to look like this. The client is going to say, hey server, this is my text, this is my prompt, give me the generated text, like generate the text, like generate one essay on a dog, right? Generate one essay on a cat, something like this, like anything it can be. And this will be your request. So right, this is going to be a request. Next, this request is going to go to our LLM, right? Here the request with prompt will go to our LLM, and as soon as the LLM receives it, it is going to generate some text back. So this will be my response back, response with generated text, right? This is your response, and then finally you are going to get your response back to the client, right? So this is going to be your normal response. So what we are going to do today, first of all, we are going to build this, we are going to bring this open source LLM into the picture. Then we are going to build one Fast API server, make them the connection, and then we are going to try it using Postman or using Thunder Client, anything, right? So let's make this simple project. So first of all, for open source LLM, you can just go ahead and just search for Hugging Face. So this is like a place, or this is like a community where you can find a lot of open source AI ML models also, plus you can find a lot of data sets, you can find some spaces where you can discuss with other AI ML engineers. So this is like, you can consider it is like a GitHub. On GitHub you publish your code, it is a front-end code, back-end code, any kind of code. On Hugging Face it is like that only. Here the repositories are containing the code of the machine learning models, or they're containing the data sets, right? So let's go ahead and let me log in. So here you can see that I'm logged in, and now what we are doing is we are currently focusing on this particular section where we have to find out which open source LLM we have to use, and then once we have finalized the model, we are going to bring this model into Fast API server code. So let's go over here and click on the models part. As soon as you are in the models part, you are going to see that a lot of millions of models are over here. Some of them are paid models like GPT-4 and later on are these are the paid models, but you are also going to find out some open source model. That means you don't have to pay for them to use them, right? Like GPT-2 is a free model, right? Text DaVinci is a free model, right? So we are going to use one of these models. So over here, let me search for GPT-2, and here it is. Community, OpenAI community / GPT-2. So if I just click over here, you can read about this model, right? What is the model description? You can read about it, and plus they have also given the code how to use it. So the same thing we are also going to do. We are going to build a Fast API server in Python programming language, and then we are going to use the Hugging Face library, transformers library, this by Hugging Face itself, and using this library or this package, we are going to call our text generation model. Which model? GPT-2 model. So it's like a story, and I'm going to walk you through it. Then we pass our prompt, then we pass the maximum length, and here you are going to pass it. You can also pass your previous messages, and then you are going to get your final generated text. So let's not waste time, and we have chosen the model that, hey, we are going to use GPT-2. If you want to find out the other models, just click on this text generation, and all of these models are text generation model itself, right? So Llama is also one of the famous models, so you can just click on it and you can use this model also. So by just changing the text of the model name, you can actually switch between your models, right? So like this, if you are building an application where you want to give the user a choice that which model he wants to use, you can give a drop down that, hey, the user can actually choose, he or she wants to use Llama, he or she wants to use GPT-2 or Claude, anything, right? You can give that choice to them. So this is a good project that we're trying to build here. Okay, perfect. So we are going to use GPT-2. Let me just get back and just search for GPT-2. Here it is. So this one we are going to use. Now I'm going to go on my desktop and I'm going to create one folder, empty folder, totally empty folder, and there we are going to start working with Python. Let's do that. So guys, you can see that I am on a folder, all AI projects inside documents. Over here I'm going to create one, I'm going to just open my command prompt, and over here in this thing I'm going to create one directory. Let's call it as text generation Fast API, right? Let's create that and let's go inside this folder, and then let's open Visual Studio Code. Okay, so here I have opened my Visual Studio Code inside this folder. So in this folder itself, whatever we have to do inside this folder itself, right? So first of all, I'm going to install a virtual environment. So I'm going to say pip install, let me increase the font size. Yeah, I hope it is visible now. Virtual env. So it is installing the virtual environment because I don't want my packages to be installed globally. I only want my packages to be installed for this particular folder itself. So it will keep all my packages inside the venv folder that will be just created right now. So after that, what I've done is I've just created one main.py file so that my Python interpreter, which you can see right over here, is activated. So now it is activated. Now I'm going to run this command python -m venv. As soon as I do that, you can see that vNode environment has, yes, just say yes, and you can see that one venv folder is created. So this is my virtual environment, right? Inside this virtual environment, you can see the scripts file, and inside this you can see the activate file. So for this, what you have to do is I have to call this activate file. So for that, you will say, hey, go inside venv folder, then go inside the scripts folder, and then run the activate file. So now we can see that an error has occurred. So let's solve it together. So basically it says unauthorized access. So basically my computer is not allowing me to run scripts through the terminal. So what you have to do is open the PowerShell as administrator, right? And for this you just have to run this command, set execution policy remote sign. So this is for Windows, and for the Mac what you have to do is you don't have to run this command, you just have to run source venv/bin/activate. This will be the command that will be running for the Mac users, right? So now I have done this, that is I have allowed my computer so that it can run scripts through terminal. So set execution policy remote sign, this is now set. Now I can just again run that venv script/activate, and now you can see that my virtual environment is activated. You can see this green, same thing you will see in Mac and in Linux also, right? You can see this venv, that means my virtual environment is activated. Perfect. Now what I have to do is, now I will be just clearing this part, and I will be downloading some of the packages that we need for making this server, right? So first of all, we need the transformers package, because through that package only we can actually call the Hugging Face models, right? So the models, the packages that we have to download is pip install fast API uvcorn. I'll tell you why we use these packages, and transformers. So basically you need fast API because we are using fast API server to create our own server. uvcorn, that means your server will run continuously. Whenever you make any change in your code, you don't have to restart your server. It's like NodeMon if you have worked with Node.js. Transformers is a library by Hugging Face, right? Through this transformers library you can access all the models which are there in the Hugging Face platform, right? So I'll just run this. You can see that it is downloading, so let it download. Transformers is actually a very big package, so it may take like some time. So let's see. So till it is downloading, what we have to do is we have to in my main.py file we have to start building the server. So first of all we have to import fast API. So from fast API import fast API, then I have to import from transformers, import pipeline. Pipeline is just, you know, you can actually imagine a pipeline, right? A pipe, right? So whenever you create a AI app or an AI application, there you have to create a pipeline. Like data is coming from here, user prompt is coming from here, you will be doing some computation, the model is going to run and generate some text, then the response is going to go away to the client, right? So it's kind of a pipeline, right? Sometimes you need a lot of plugins, you need a lot of interceptors that you have to connect, and then your pipeline gets ready, right? So here also we have to import a pipeline. So the name is very perfect, pipeline. And then we also need Pydantic. We need to import Pydantic base model. So through this we can actually create a model, right? A class, right? So that we can define our data points, right? So this is good. Now as soon as we have done this, we are going to create an app which will be a fast API app, right? Fast API app, and we have to create a model. So which model are we planning to use? We are going to use the GPT-2 model. So we have to say, hey model, hey pipeline, create a pipeline. So pipeline is going to create a pipeline. In this, what is our major task? So task, first of all you have to define your task. Task is text generation, and make sure that you are using the same string. Like you cannot use text generation, spelling is wrong, or you are using capital T. No, it is fixed, right? It's a parameter, right? So text generation, and then you have to define your model. So my Copilot is suggesting me, so that is good. GPT-2, right? So over here text generation is going to remain text generation, but for this GPT-2 you can actually go ahead on your Chrome browser, yes, and for your text generation models you can actually choose any model. You just have to change this name. So you can see this name, you just have to change that, right? So that is what you have to change, and you can just plug and play with your models. Okay, so we have created a pipeline now, and now I'm going to create a class which is going to define my request body, right? So I can say text generation request, and this request is going to have a model, and in this I'm going to accept a text, that means the prompt that the user has entered. So I'll call it prompt itself, prompt, right? And then the next thing is going to be the maximum length that the user wants to generate. So maximum length, let's say 50 is very less, so let's say 1000. Okay, and then I'm going to create an endpoint for this. So endpoint is definitely going to be a post request, because we have to pass the data from the client to the server, and for those we use the post request. So as my Copilot is suggesting, and guys, using Copilot is not bad, right? It is the future. So as soon as you are going to adopt like using these AI tools in your day-to-day coding life, that is going to make your life easier and you will be more and more productive, right? So please use it. It's just like using a mechanical mouse or using a mechanical keyboard, right? It increases your productivity. So that's why for software tools also, like you need some software tools like this Copilot, right? So it's not bad, so you can use it. App.post, you have to define your path. So I'm going to call this path as generate, let's use this, generate text, right? This is my path, and now I have to define my function which will run as soon as I hit this endpoint, right? So it is going to be an async function, generate text, and you have to define your request, and my request model is going to be this. So in my post body I have to define my data something like this, right? So text generation request, and as soon as you have got the data from your client, then you have to do some computation, like some processes. Process is nothing going to be, it is going to be nothing, but we have to send this text data and this maximum length to our model and get the data back. Okay, so result is going to be, I have to say, hey model, just take the request.prompt, which is my input text, and the maximum length that you can use is request.maximum length, right? And then the number of like sequences that you want, right? So this is again one parameter in the model. So we have to define number of return sequences. It is going to be 1, right? So as soon as I have done this, what I have to do is I have to return my response, generated response, to the client. So I'll say return generated text is going to be result at 0 at generated text. So something like this it is generated, but we can also print the response, complete response. So what I'll do is I'll say print result, right? Now as soon as I've done this, just to test whether my server is on or not, I'll also say at app.get, and as soon as I hit the route itself, I'm going to say hello world, right? So this is done. So basically our server code is actually done. This is the one API that I have taught to create. You can create like hundreds of APIs within the same way. If like one API is for recipe, one API is for anything else to generate, you can create that, right? But within 20 lines of code, we have actually generated a server that generates text using open source model. Now let's just run it. So uvcon main app -- reload. So this -- should something like this. Okay, and you know that our okay, there is one issue, so let's try to fix it. Okay, so we have got an error. That is actually nice. That means we are doing something complex, right? So at least one of the TensorFlow 2.0 torch should be installed. Okay, so it is asking that, hey, you have to install at least TensorFlow or you have to use PyTorch. So I am going to use PyTorch. So I'll just close my server and just going to say pip install torch, right? So this is going to install the PyTorch library. So let it launch, let it install. So it is 159 MB. So let's wait so that it installs. Okay, there is one more, that is 228 MB. Okay, let's wait for it to install. Okay, so we are here and our PyTorch is also installed. Now I'm going to just again run uvcon main app reload and let's wait to see if it gives an issue. Okay, so it is initializing the tensors. Let's wait for it to do it. Okay, so we can see that our application startup complete. As soon as you see this, that means your server is on. Now I'm going to go back over here, and you know that Fast API runs on port 8000, like Node runs on port 3000, right? So I'll just say localhost, instead of 3000 I'll say 8000, and hello world, you can see over here. And if I just say /docs, so Python, this Fast API also generates one docs page for you. Here you can see all your APIs that you just generated. So this is my get call. If I just do that, and here if I say, hey, try it out, and if I say execute, you can say hello world. You can see hello world over here. Right? Similarly, you can also run this API, that is generate text, and I'm going to say try it out. We need prompt and maximum length. Maximum length is 1000 is okay. And prompt I'm going to keep, let me also increase the font size. Let me increase the font size. Now let me put the prompt as, hey, I was riding a bicycle and suddenly I saw my school friend passing by ... right? Now I wanted to complete this story or complete this whole line or like anything. So let's just execute. Let's see what we get. So guys, we have got the solution. So let's read it. Hey, I was riding a bicycle and suddenly I saw my school friend passing by, and she came up to me and said, I didn't know if anyone like you had a bike. I said no, but when I saw that name on this Facebook message, I went, I am an adult bike enthusiast. See, like it is like not very up to the mark, I would say, because if I do the same thing for GPT-4, the results will be much better, much interesting. And but it is okay. Like it is able to generate the text and it is able to finish the line that I started. Okay, so that is the code, guys. Whichever model you want to use, you can just paste that name here and you will be able to use easily. Now, one thing that I just want to do before we log out is that I just want to do exception handling. So for this case might fail sometimes. So I'll just put that in the try catch block, right? And this is done. So this is now inside try catch. So if anything fails, you are going to get the error in your response also, not just in your console, right? So this we have done, and this is good to go now. And what I'll do is I'll also show you that not only on that Fast API docs, you can also just go over here in the Thunder client, just say new request, and this is going to be HTTP and localhost port 8000 slash on this route we are going to make a post request. So put post and just make body will say prompt my dog is very clever. Okay, I'll just put this and let the GPT-2 complete it, prompt, and then max length. Let's put it 2000 this time, and let's just save it. Let's send. Method not allowed. Okay, text generation, generate text, something like that was there, right? So let's see the exact route. So this is the route. Okay, so this is the route, and I'll just paste that over here. Now hit send. Now I should get my response over here, and we will be sure that hey, my API is working perfectly. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, my dog is very clever. He's like this. He's really fun to watch. When I'm not playing the dog, she does these tests every single day because we have got to find what works best. So see, sometimes it is using his, sometimes it is referring the dog as a female. Okay, so this is not that perfect because of obviously like GPT-4 are the best models right now in the market. But okay, this is okay to test it out, create your own text generation API, do at least a simple task, right? Okay, so I hope you like this video. In the next video, we are going to write the similar code for generating images and how can you actually download those images, right? So till the next video, keep coding, keep innovating, and thanks a lot.